Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations and Repairs. Check it out. I got another scan tool to show and share with you and go through with you. It's the Ancel DS200. Looking forward to playing with it. I had an Ancel X7, which was a pretty basic scan tool, but a pretty decent one. And I'm hoping this new version here, this DS200, lives up to its heritage. Let me get the camera closer in and we'll take a quick look before heading out to the car to see what it can do. All right, well, once I've got the Wi-Fi set up and just picked language, time, that kind of stuff, we're in it. And we won't go into all this here, but we'll go into a lot of it in the car. Well, OBD2, generic OBD2 maintenance items. Diagnose, that's manually enter the car, the engine size, that sort of thing. And auto search is where it's gonna read the car, find the VIN, and be able to determine the vehicle there. We'll give it a shot on the car we play with today. Of course, over here, settings, let's go into that real quick. Customer management, business information, so you can put in all of the information you want as far as your business goes. And then we have FCA diagnostics and gateway unlock options. So this does do all that as well, which is kind of cool. We can clear the data, restore the item to a factory default, and we can also do some firmware fixes in there. Then we get into settings here, photo album, screen recorder, customer service. I'm gonna turn that off for now. 24-hour format, and do we want to go with metric? We're at Farpoint Farms here for our Wi-Fi. I didn't change the time zone. I guess I can do that now, but well, whatever. We'll go with that. And let's go back into the settings there, and we'll go into let's see about software version 1.12, guard version 1.06. This is all pretty recent stuff here on this. And we do have about 9.53 gig left out of the 32 gigs, so plenty of room for future updates. All right, maintenance-wise, this is what a lot of people are interested in. Air fuel reset, AdBlue, brake pad reset, EGR, gear learn, ABS bleed, battery matching, DPF regen, throttle adaptation, gearbox learning, knock sensor reset, steering angle reset, injector coating, oil reset, and tire pressure monitor reset. That's a lot, and I'm sure that they'll add more as the years go on. It's usually how the way that works. Tools adding functionality. Now, there is no subscription on this. So this is just going to get us updates, which is something I liked about the X7 as well. Here is where we find our library. We have our user's manual, vehicle coverage list, e-learning guide, and OBD fault code. So there is some onboard stuff there to help you out if you are struggling to figure out like what a code means or whatnot. And then service, that is going to be, if you want to connect to that, you're going to go on there and it's going to try to connect you with a live person. I don't want to mess with that right now, so we'll get out of that. But that's what that is. So it literally has, you can sit in your car with your codes, talk to a tech, and get some advice from there. Of course, update, there's a ton of updates. I've done a bunch. We'll go ahead and do the update on that, but it has already upgraded 102 of these things. And you can see just about every manufacturer you can dream of has come through there. Right, Mercedes-Benz, all that stuff. And then our updates through our oil resets, things like that also. So, oh boy, did find some updates here. So we got a bunch. And well, I'll tell you what, I will update the Mitsubishi one just because that's the car we're going to be playing with. And while it is doing the update, I will pause the camera. We'll get this thing loaded up and in the car, and we'll see what we can see. Let's do it. Oh man, it is freezing outside. You can see just a little snow in the car today. That's okay, we're gonna do this thing. So I've got it hooked up to a 2018 Mitsubishi Mirage. We're gonna go into auto scan here and let's see if we can find that car. And it can. There it goes, 2018 Mitsubishi Mirage. And let's go into auto search and we'll see what it can do here. So it is a CVT 2-wheel drive. It is that model. And let's get a full health report. Let's see what it can find for us. So it says it's got 2 engine codes. Anti-lock brake has a code. Wow, okay, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Key codes, all kinds of goodies. And we'll read these codes here and see, and we'll try to get into some of these systems. So Engine control code, we have an ABS CAN message. There's a stored code U05, and we can press that button right there, and it'll go out and look that information up. And there we go. So it'll actually go out on the internet and Google that for you. Invalid data received from anti-lock brake control module, indicating the PCM or ECM detects that the ABS module is showing up, blah, blah, blah. And then we have, look at this, we can figure out how to fix it right off of that. Fellow YouTubers doing the diag for us, right? So that helps us out a whole lot. All right, let's get out of that. Automatic transmission torque reduction issues, anti-lock brake system, we have a bus situation, and we have tire pressure lights that are stored. These are all stored codes. These aren't anything that is currently going on. A mobilizer code, again, tire pressure monitoring stuff, and everything else is pretty good. Cool. Want to save that as a report? We can do that as well. Pre-scan, and we're going to hit OK. I can enter in my shop name if I want to, Farpoint. All right, there we go. And we'll hit OK again, and it's saved. We can save that as a PDF. It saves it to that file, so we can go back and get that information later. And we can share it through email, so we can actually email those people. There's our data report. Looks pretty nice. So I want to share that with a customer. Now we look a whole lot more professional doing it, don't we? And they know it's their car. We're not trying to scam them or anything like that. Awesome. All right, let's back out of that. And let's do individual system scans. Cool. I would say that was less than a minute to do all of that. And we'll go in and check the engine here first. Module information, fault code. We could clear fault codes, but let's take a look at the data stream here. Now, this tool is not bidirectional. This is what we consider to be a homeowner or a DIYer level scan tool. We have compressor fluid pressure, compressor relays, switches. And let's take a look at that pressure. Airflow sensor, we can take a look at that. Brake lamp switch on and off. And let's take a look at fuel system. Okay, there we go. And you can see those numbers hopping around already. We can look at those in millivolts or volts. We can look at that one in pounds. Oop. Pounds, right? And then we also look at this as a graph if you want to. You can see that right there. And you can see those start to dance when I start hitting the gas. Nice. We can hit min-max on that if we want to change those parameters around, shrink it down so we see more detail. All right, brake lamp switch on off. There it is, it's on. We're in closed loop. So there you go, you get an idea how that works. We can save that. Oh, let me go back in there. We can save a sample of that. So again, I can put that in there. And it's going to record now what I'm up to. You can see here. And we can review that back. So, hands-free driving laws, you cannot be cruising down the strip paying attention to this while you're driving a customer car. But you can record it, and when you detect a fault, you can go back and check that stuff back at the shop. All right, hit stop, and we can save that. And there we go. Now that's going to be in there in your file. Okay. And we can compare samples too. So some stuff here, if we want to look at what a normal, like before and after, if we fix this thing, want to make sure that's another way of doing that. So that's really nice. Cool. All right, let's back out of that. And let's take a look at the transmission, and then we'll wrap up with ABS on this. Same thing, we have our module information, fault code, and data stream. Let's go ahead. Let's see, accelerator position. We're not going to be driving, so we can't change gear ratio and whatnot, but we can take a look at oil temperature. A lot of people, you know, if you're going to do your own CVT services or transmission services, those are readings that you need to have. Yeah, let's just go with those three. Okay, accelerator position, well, I'll give it some gas, and now we see it come back up. 82 degrees is all we have on the CVT, because even though the car is running now, it is not being driven, so it's not really warming up. And then we have engine RPM, and just like before, we can get a nice bar graph if we want to do that as well. And just like before, we can compare and save a sample as well. We can also make a report on that as well, which is nice. So pretty cool for a tool of this type. Oh, all right. Let's take a look at our ABS. And again, we could read and clear, but I don't know what's available on ABS. But let's see here. Engine speed, I guess, is obviously going to be one we can play with. Wheel sensor, if we were driving, we could do a counter. Master cylinder pressure, there's one for us. Odometer reading, let's check that. Parking brake switch, we can look at that. Rear differentials, steering angle, we can look at that. So a lot of cool stuff. Yaw rate sensor, let's take a look at those. So ABS is very full featured, I would say, right? Again, engine speed's there. Master cylinder pressure, yeah, it's registering that. Mileage is correct, so if you want to look at mileage to see if a car has been tampered with, there you go. Parking brake is off. Now it's on. Now it's off. Steering angle sensor, can't move it much, but you can see it move. Yaw rate sensor, same thing. Really nice. And again, graphs for everything, right? We can get into at with all of it. All right, let's get out of all this. All right, now when we go into our files, we'll be able to see some of those. There's our Mitsubishi popping up, and our reports are there, right? Diagnostic report, and we did even save it as a PDF. As you start building a customer database on these, you'll be able to go through and find these. So it is a good idea. I just saved it as whatever, but you can save these reports as anything you want or save them at. Yeah, so overall, I'm pretty happy with this thing. Not the fastest tool I've ever reviewed, not the most full-featured tool I've ever reviewed, but for the money, really impressive little piece of equipment. I'll leave a link to where you can get one, and I'll see you next time. Take care.